It's Gene Leroy, one of the samurai character actors. Gene, tell us how it all came about with Bill Ross.
Well, it's like everything else in life. It's who you know. Somebody was doing some work with Bill, and then by word of mouth, that came through to other people and said, hey, there's this guy, Bill Ross, and he dubs movies into English, and he's looking for voices. And through that, several of us went down there, and he found a source then with us at the Far East Network of people that not only were voices but could read a script, could interpret and do all of those things. And so it was a source for him, and it was a good partnership with all of us because we made money and he made money, and we spent a lot of time having fun too.
So you were in the Army? Yep.
I was in the Air Force.
The Air Force.
I'd been in the Marine Corps, and then I switched to the Air Force.
Okay. So, and then you were working for this network, so you're basically all on-air guys and guys that like to act and do all that sort of stuff. Correct.
And in those days, we were still doing radio drama.
Ah.
So we had people that were doing, we recorded various shows that we played on the network that were good old radio dramas.
Okay. Now, when you say we, who are you thinking of when you say we?
Well, I'm just thinking of the crew, the entire crew that was at the Far East Network at the time.
How many in the crew?
Oh, man, the Far East Network in Tokyo was, I guess we must have had 35, 40 people there because we ran the entire network. And
thanks for hopping on board Facebook, the Samurai Facebook page there. So I think you're the only one that's done that out of the crew.
Well, I'm very still oriented with electronics and all that. I love Apple products. I was an Apple product rep for a while, so I'm pretty prolific at all that stuff.
We'll get on to other stuff that you've done too, Gene, which is a pretty impressive record. Let's see if we can try and unsurface some of your memories from that time. So what goes through your head when you're sort of thinking back to recording the shows? I get the picture from talking to other guys. It was just a very small studio, probably smelt of food and wasn't that pleasant, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't always remember it as being small studios. Sometimes we had pretty good-sized studios, and I remember we would have a big screen.
Okay.
And we worked in loops of anywhere from 3 to maybe 5 minutes of film at a time. I do remember that we had a rope that was strung across that we didn't go in front of, and we had a bank of microphones, and everybody had their scripts, and we would watch this loop until we got the feeling of our character. And the way most people got their voices, if they were active, they would try and shape themselves in the shape of the actor that was on the screen.
Yeah.
So, except for that, and when I looked at that series that started with the one that I went to last night, I looked at 3, and it definitely was me, the guttural one in there. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
One. I can still do that one, but I did a lot of voices because I could do so many myriad of voices.
Yeah.
My voice was clear then.
Okay. And when you, of course, recorded a program, you probably would have been doing 2 or 3 different characters within an episode, so it wasn't just the one. Although Tom pretty much just did the really evil guy who was either Fumikataro or Kongo of Koga. I don't think Tom did many others apart from the main evil guy.
Not many, no.
And William Ross did just pretty much Shintaro. And we are very conscious of just timing it because you've got to virtually try and stop talking at the same time as the Japanese character is talking.
That's right, but in editing, they could always shift the voice a little bit if they needed to.
Yeah.
It depended upon how accurate they wanted to be at the time.
Well, I think
we got pretty good at it. We got pretty good at being able to match the.
Yeah.
And ninjas are pretty easy because they have a mask over their face half of the time.
That's true. So you were doing a whole bunch of stuff, and There was the Phantom Agents too. I'm sorry, I never got into that, and that wasn't that big down under. I think that was only shown the once, but that was another series which William Ross was involved with. But then there was the movies as well. So many movies you would have dubbed.
Oh, I don't know. We did a lot of different things. We did so many. Some cases we were involved with Bill Ross and his wife. She would do a rough translation of the movie into English, and then several of us would sit around. I think Tom was there, and I was. We would then watch the Japanese movie, and then we would help write the script to try and match the mouth movements as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that was both good and bad, because the good part was that we could match it pretty good. The bad part was that we sometimes changed the movie because the words that we used would change what was really supposed to be there. And the movie may not have anything to do with what it originally was, but nobody knew but us.
No, that's very true. I think certainly one of the in the Samurai series, one of the cliche lines was, and I don't know if it was in the Japanese dialogue, but it was definitely Shintaro, prepare to die. He was being constantly told to prepare to die, and I was always waiting for an episode where he said, "Oh, okay, I'll just write out my will. I'll say goodbye to Tombe. Prepare to die." Classic line.
Yep. That's great. I remember that.
Yeah. Now, were you aware? We've probably asked this question before. Were you aware that it was a huge hit in Australia, because it wasn't shown in America or the UK?
Oh no! I never knew that. We weren't sure. We thought that it was going to be shown in places like Hong Kong and
Philippines.
In the Philippines, but we didn't know that it was going to Australia. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it was a bit of an experiment which a Sydney businessman took on, and it was only in recent times. I was talking to a friend, and he said, "Yeah, I remember that in New Zealand." I said, "Really?" I said, "Was it shown in New Zealand?" He said, Yeah, in the daytime, and he remembered it quite well. So I wasn't even aware that it was also shown in New Zealand. But you never got to meet Mr. Koichi Osei.
I think we met him at an event one time.
Right.
There was a lot of people from there, and I just barely remember meeting him in passing, like shook hands or something, but I don't.
Any other thoughts that come to mind from those days? As I say, we are going back.
What's funny is to this day, I like to wear a lot of black.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because I was a black ninja so much or not.
Okay.
It's funny. I remember the camaraderie. We had a lot of fun. We worked hard.
Yeah.
We would work long days. And in fact, on the day that Kennedy was assassinated, we were scheduled to do dubbing, and I was laying in my bed over at the headquarters, which was just kitty corner across the road to the studios, and somebody came in and shook me, and they said, Sergeant Leroy, get up!
Yeah, Kennedy's
been assassinated, and I said, because I knew we were going to have a satellite feed of Kennedy in Texas, I just said, I'll see it on a rerun. And he said, did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, my God. So I ran over there, and I actually was just in a T-shirt and underwear.
Yeah.
I ran over to the studio, and I went on the air, and I did get a few breaks, but we were on the air from that Saturday all through the final salute of the little boy, John.
Okay.
And we worked and worked, and the only way that we would get a break was we had a couch in the studio. We would lay upside down on the couch with our feet up the wall to try and circulate blood in our head so that we could be nice and fresh and keep on going. And then the next week we were back to dubbing again. But I can still remember in Japan they would for many months the Japanese would come up to us and say that they were sorry, and they would bow to us, and they would give us condolences. So it's just something that happened that during that period of time, but we didn't dub, of course, that weekend.
No. Would that be one of the biggest news events that you would have been involved with in your career?
Well, yeah, that, and then of course we broadcast the Olympics in Tokyo, and that was the '64 Olympics, and we were all involved in that. I had the most exciting sport of all. I did the play-by-play of rowing.
Right.
Can you imagine that? You'd sit there and it was fun. Anyway, it was a great time.
Yeah.
It was a good time in my life. It was so much excitement, and this kept us busy. We had a lot of fun. We would bring food into the studio, as you said, and there would be a lot of smell of food in the studio, but we'd take a nice break when we did that. Yeah.
Just as we sort of wind up, so you know that you did a lot of those deep voices in the Samurai, the guttural ones.
I also did a lot of the other voices because I could do that. Hi, that kind of.
Oh yeah, the really young voice.
I did young voices. I did the in between guys, and I did the but I can't. I mean,
yeah, there was.
I guess
there was.
If I continued to watch, those, I could probably mark down which one I was. But boy, that one last night, the one with the
one that I sent you the link to.
Well, the three the two that followed that, I watched all three of them.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know that there were a couple of other voices there that definitely were mine.
Yep.
Because I remember that it's so. When I was on, that was what Bill liked about me, was the fact that I could do another voice and there was no similar sound.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell. I remember one time, sometimes we would do a freaky things just for a break when they were doing it, and there was this one where King Kong was on top of the mountain, and he got knocked off the mountain, and he's sliding down the mountain on his back, and Tom is there, and he yells, "Oh, my hemorrhoids!" It's just all up. And that was how you kept going, is because there was humility in the humorous stuff going on. Not humility, but humorous stuff going on, and it was fun.
Yeah. So leaving Japan, so virtually your whole life has been involved with the media and television, radio.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
I did a lot of other things in my life, but that I did that considerably a lot. I ran video production companies. I did all kinds of different things. But it's just been crazy stuff.
Terrific, Gene. Well, there's no doubt. I mean, a lot of us who were kids who watched the Samurai, and as we grow up now, we realise just the importance of the character actors, and I reckon you guys just nailed it. It's really good. Well, I mean, there's one thing to do a voice, but they were just such great character voices, and Tom, and I said to him, he played that evil part so well. No wonder Bill Ross got him to do the main evil guy all the way through the seasons.
Yep.
No, I just love listening to it, and it's funny when you go back and you watch the Japanese, because you can watch the Japanese versions of it, and just you're thinking that's not their voice. No, that's wrong. Tombe sounds so harsh, and they do, don't they? I mean, you would have heard the original voices.
Well, I can say this: we enjoyed it. We all got to really like it, and I know that we felt sometimes like we were. I mean, because we're moving around and fighting.
Oh, okay. So you were very animated. It wasn't just sort of speaking into a microphone, living out the part. Yeah,
we would do what our character was doing. And that's why sometimes the voice would have that. Because you were actually almost wrestling with somebody.
Yeah.
But in general, I would say that being with Shintaro was very, very good to me, and I'm so happy that this happened. I had no idea that such a thing existed and that you guys were so big on it down under. And so I want to say hello to everybody who's there, and this is just a wonderful thing that you do. I wish I could be there. I just can't afford to make a trip to Australia right now, but I guess I would do it. It would be fun. Once again, all my best to everybody down under who was ever a fan of Shintaro and all the rest of us evil bastards.